welcome to an interview with me, Charlie Serocold, the author of A History of the United States for Newcomers. Thanks for joining. I thought I'd put this together to give my readers a bit of a flavour of who I am and what our mission is at History in a Heartbeat. The book is available on Amazon at the moment, on Kindle and paperback, so go ahead and get a copy. You can find more about me, the company, and what we're trying to do at historyinheartbeat.com. All the links are down below. And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Etsy. We have a little store if you want to buy some merchandise as well. So today I'm just going to answer 5 questions about the book itself, where you can find additional resources, and what's next for me and the company. So the first question is, what inspired me to write this book? So in 2009, I moved from London to Boston to study for an MBA at Holt International Business School. And as the name suggests, Holt International was full of students from foreign countries. People came from everywhere. They came from Mexico, Argentina, Canada, South Africa, South Korea, Syria, all over the world. Amazing experience. And one evening, while we were sitting downstairs at a local bar, I had been doing a little bit of research on the Mexican-American War, and eager to show off my newfound knowledge, I was talking to them about the Mexican Cession of 1848 and the gold that was found in Sutter's Creek at the same time, and telling them how that war had an impact on Mexican-American relations ever since. And I noticed pretty quickly that none of my friends there knew much about the Mexican-American War and didn't know much about American history in general. So I thought to myself a bit later on that day, it's quite useful to know some of that stuff if you want to stay in the country and feel integrated and part of the fabric of the American society. So that's where the idea came from. And after I graduated in 2010 and I was living in New York, I'd meet more and more people who either never learned American history, who had moved here to study or to work. And I found that they didn't have much knowledge of American history either. And I thought, it'd be valuable to learn that stuff. Question number 2, how long did it take to write this book? There are a couple of ways of answering that question. I think, the first way is to say that ever since the idea was planted in my mind in 2009, I was working on the book. I was thinking about it. I was reading American history, military history, social history. I was also reading classic fiction. I was reading The Octopus, An American Tragedy, Bonfire of the Vanities, Grapes of Wrath, all the big classics. And while I was reading all that, I was either mentally filing it away or scrawling it down on pieces of paper, interesting tidbits of information. But another way to answer that as well, once I'd sort of accumulated all that knowledge, in 2018, I started putting a structure together. I started to collate that information and put it together into something resembling a book. And so from 2018 into 2023, I was spending a lot of time on the book, especially when the pandemic hit and there was a lot of time I could use that I had spent commuting, instead working on the book. So early mornings, late nights and weekends, I would spend all of that time working on the book for a few years. Question number 3, why did you write this book? I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that I think it helps people to integrate into American society. I think it helps enrich people's lives. They're better able to relate to politics, political decisions. They understand references made on the news or on the television when films, which they might not have otherwise understood or would have gone over their heads when they first heard it. I think it's fun to recognize place names named after people. And also, while I was doing my research, I found that 50 million people were living in this country, were never born here, and they would never have learned American history. So I thought for them it would be helpful too as a resource. 50 million people is more than the entire population of Canada or Spain or Argentina. That's a huge amount of people. So there's a big market there for people to learn. And also today on the border, there are 1.3 million people who are waiting for their asylum applications to be processed. And those people could do with some help integrating into American society when they get here. And this would help. Question number 4, what are some of the most interesting things you'd like readers to learn about when reading this book? There are lots of things. Origins of the United States, Civil War, industrialization, progressives, Second World War, all those periods are really fascinating. I think thinking about the origins of the country is one of the keys to what makes this country what it is today. It still resonates even from 1776. And the reason is that the country was founded during a period of profound global change. And that's the Enlightenment that took place between 1685 and 1815. The ideas of the Enlightenment took the place of superstition and blind faith and religious doctrine and replaced it with reason, openness and religious tolerance. It was those ideas that were incorporated into the founding documents of the United States. Also, I think it's interesting to learn about how the different parts of the United States were originally conceived of. The 13 colonies themselves, New England was Puritan, Maryland was Catholic, and Georgia was intended to be used by the trustees of Georgia to house prisoners from overcrowded London jails, because they thought those prisoners could be put to better use in Georgia rather than just spending their time in the jails. So that was kind of interesting. Question number 5, where can you go to learn more about me and what we're up to? Yeah, so sign up to historyinheartbeat.com, sign up to the newsletter, we'll keep you updated. Our mission is to create a series of books and a series of resources for newcomers. So the next book that we're working on is A History of New York for Newcomers, which has got fascinating history, the Art Deco architecture, the grid system, the immigration patterns, crime in the 70s and 80s, bankruptcy of the city, 9/11 and so forth. So we're working on that. And then we'll probably work on another book, History of the United Kingdom for Newcomers too. So that'll be a bit further down the road. So we'll keep you up to date, and please drop us a line on History in a Heartbeat. You've got contact details there, and we'll keep you informed. Thanks so much for listening.